Welcome back. We're still talking the economy. Mr. Fasua, before we went on that break, you talked about extra legal means to ensure that these monies that have been recovered are plowed back into the system so that we don't have to go borrowing. I mean, if you have to discover about $9,000 in, $9 million in one residence, $13 million in another residence, somebody has about $5 billion in an account. These are a lot of monies that can be used to reshape our economy. But Mr. Odibo talked about structural initiative. In what direction should that structural initiative go to see us move from where we are to where we ought to be? Is it a political thing, a social thing, or an economic thing?
Well, perhaps it is all of the above. You know, like people are talking about restructuring the economy or restructuring the society as a whole. That is one end, of things. I would probably say one of the things we can do is to try and restructure the economy. Perhaps restructuring the economy will be easier than restructuring the politics of things, and it's pretty, if you ask me, it's easy. It's just that right now impunity has taken over and people are doing whatever they want and getting away with it. The point is, this is a matter of naira and kobo. Wherever the money goes, it's gone. Wherever the money goes, it's gone. Therefore, the point is to say, I personally believe that on the level of fiscal responsibility alone, we could achieve a whole lot. If we go back to, perhaps if you like, forensically trace how money is being spent, how do these monies move out of the system, who gets what? Sometimes it's as easy as the leader of the country putting down some laws, some rules, and saying, even beyond legalism, beyond even whatever the Constitution says, this is how we're going to run the system. There's a point where morality begins to come into question. Some things are legal, but they are immoral. Must you do them? But the fact that the Constitution doesn't say you should do something, if you're going along the highway and you meet people in an accident, the Constitution doesn't say you should help them. But morality and goodness shows that and dictates that you should park and assist people, to save their lives, as it were. So if you ask me the kind of structures we're talking about, I don't like talking in vague terms. I always like to break it down and say exactly how do we move from where we are to where we need to get to. A lot could have been done 24 months ago, which wasn't done. A lot could have been done in between. A lot of rules could have been laid, which were not laid, but right now, even if the society has to kick in, if the people have to stand up and say this is unacceptable, if call it the labor unions or the NGOs, sometimes our salvation could come from some of those places. If they have to step up to tell government that some of these things are totally unacceptable. What's going on is that Nigerians are becoming numb. Our minds are benumbed right now, that we don't see anything wrong. People should be on the street protesting, for every other big man who money was found in their homes, or in some burial ground, or in some septic tank, or in all sorts of places. The point is the Nigerians are being wicked to Nigerians. Our leaders have been wicked to us by keeping all of these monies, and watching society suffer. And sometimes I want to believe that somehow it's a stage of evolution. They didn't quite evolve as human beings properly, as Homo sapiens. And and there's a need for us to keep evolving and evolving fast. But if you believe that being someone of worth is to have so much money and live in and watch your people live in so much squalor, then you've got a problem. So we have to deploy economic means, political means, social means, the NGOs, and everything we've got. We have to put on the table to make sure that this system changes. I 100% agree that there needs to be a reward and punishment system in place. One of the things that we recommended to this government when they were coming in, which of course was never taken, is to say that any leader of these MDAs that you're going to appoint, any DG minister, give them a target. The way it's done in the private sector, you deliver or you ship out. That's the way it should be done. Okay. But the first thing we saw when they came in was they started asking that they didn't have houses. Many of the ministers said they didn't have houses in Abuja. And one of them said, he was living in his house. He said, can you imagine, I'm living in my own house. I'm like, maybe you want to come and live in my house. And of course, it became a whole issue of, entitlements. What can I get? What can I grab? And of course, we know where we are today. So it's really unfortunate, but I think we all have to step up and do the needful.
All right, thank you. Mr. Odibo, let me just read out some comments here so that you can respond to them. Igbosa says, where is the confidence in our institutions? How are we utilizing our resources? We have a massive waste of human and material resources, and all of this points to our defective political economy. That's like your language, political economy. But can we achieve an effective political economy in the face of budget delays, monies everywhere, hunger in some quarters, and some people argue about that hunger part though. You know. So can we achieve an effective political economy?
You can, but it has to
in
be,
practical terms.
But it has to be driven. It has to be driven.
Can it be driven from the society, as in individuals in the society, not waiting for the political class? Can it be driven by you and me in a Ejigbo area of Lagos?
You're coming to my point. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. If you are looking, you know, the problem with us in Nigeria is that we have become very messianic in our thinking. So somebody is going to come to help us. We believe somebody will come to Nigeria. That was the hope for Buhari. If Buhari comes, everything. Buhari. Yes, so President Buhari. That becomes everything will be sorted. So the moment we win ourselves from this kind of thinking and narrative, and begin to take responsibility as individuals, that will make a difference. Let me tell you something. There's one great thing that leadership owes to people, is vision. And that's what Fashaw is talking about. The ability of government and people in leadership to see beyond now and then take decisions that will lead the people to the promised land. But it can also come from bottom up. I keep mentioning labor, associations, NGOs, people who have churches, mosques, people who hold certain people who are leaders in their own spheres, letting the people and galvanizing us to a place where folks will say, you know what, you cannot be pouring a liquid on my head and I'm saying this smells like wee-wee, and you say it's water. You need to have people that will speak and engage and ask the questions, and don't give up until the answers are given to our questions. So 2019 is around the corner, and who are the horse trading going on? What is it? Who is coming up? Who is going to play? Because it is from these same people that policies that will determine how far we go is going to come. So my take here is that, and I agree with Fashaw who said, you can make a difference, whether it's in our economy or in our politics or in our social. But if it starts from bottom, Nigeria is rated very lowly in the Human Development Index. Listen, artificial intelligence and robotics is going to make it difficult for emerging markets and in the third world to catch up with the first world. The reason is simple. You know, Nigeria has a very limited time to catch up with the developed world. That is if that is a strategy.
But it's believed that we can't move anywhere. Even I'm talking about, okay, yes, you say we have a limited time. Artificial intelligence is going to hinder us. But everything seems to be tied around the budget, that if the budget is not passed, nothing happens.
No, the point I'm making over there is that where are these NGOs and labor? You know the consequence of the budget not being passed up till the 30th of April. This guy that left here now, can you let them know that bickering amongst themselves is not the mandate? They are for the people. They are the distortions I'm talking about. It is about me, myself, and I, and not about the people. So, the word minister, I've said it several times here, means servant. So the moment people begin to understand, you know what, I am privileged to be a minister. You ask questions, you state this is the time after how many years that they are appointing ministers, the heads of departments and agencies of government. Why? Nobody asks question. Nobody. These guys are just doing as they like. Because there is no punishment, neither is there a reward. So what is the problem? So I'm asking,
that there must be some groundswell, that we sense that these things are an anomaly, and you can in a decent manner engage government and say, sir, this is not what we're expecting from you. And the moment the conversation gets to a crescendo, it